what the hell happened this past week. Okay? And
okay, you want to repeat the question? No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. The week.
Did you see it coming? Did you see it coming?
Yes. I mean, I think we all knew that this day was coming. That's what happens when you weaken the speaker role, which Kevin did. Right when he took. That's actually how he ascended to speaker, was by making all these backroom deals, and certainly the rules package that he passed through the Republican conference put him on a glide path to the moment that we saw last week. I mean, I think there was plenty of reporting leading up to, especially after Democrats, kind of came in and saved the day again from avoiding a disastrous government shutdown.
It was probably Israel's worst day in its 75-year history. It's at war now. And while I think in the first 48 hours, America met the moment in a bipartisan outpouring of support for Israel and condemnation of Hamas for their atrocities. Not unanimous, but bipartisan and overwhelming. The real test for us is going to be in the next week or two, because we're going to see that Israel is going to be engaged in ferocious combat, and it's going to be ugly. I think the lesson of urban combat of the last 20 years, Syria, Ukraine, Iraq, is that the casualties and the suffering can be tremendous. And yet Israel has to reestablish military deterrence. It has to root out the nodes of terrorism within Gaza. It has to accomplish its military objectives.
So a negotiated settlement that somehow both sides can sell as a victory is the only imaginable answer. I would like to see Ukraine gain more leverage over such a negotiation with more success on the battlefield, but I also believe we should be clear-eyed about the eventual endgame here. It can't be prolonged forever. There are some things we can do to help. I'm quietly pushing the Pentagon on some strategy changes on the battlefield. I'm supporting efforts to tighten the economic noose on Russia after our initial push of sanctions. And I believe we should start using frozen Russian assets.
For those people who have kids, you know that this is a huge challenge. Costs are high for most families in New England. After housing, that's the second highest cost families have. And in New Hampshire, since 2019, we've lost 1,500 childcare slots. And we've only got about half of the openings that we need for kids 6 and under.
What gives me hope is the young people of New Hampshire and around the country. So 2 stories. It is the spring of 2021. It's like March. Schools are reopening. I go to the Epping School District. They have had hybrid learning most of the pandemic. They've done a really good job of kids coming in. If somebody gets sick, everybody goes to remote. But they did a really nice job of keeping human interaction going. And I'm meeting with a group of students who start with first grade, go through high school, administrators, teachers. We're talking about how they're doing a year into the pandemic, and now there are vaccines. And I'm kind of trying to get at how kids are feeling emotionally. But I'm a baby boomer who grew up with mental illness being stigmatized, right? So I'm kind of tiptoeing around it. How are you guys feeling? Do you feel like you have enough friends? Can you tell people you feel sad? And the young girl who's maybe 10 goes, "So Senator, what are you doing about mental health?" And I found myself, I was like, okay, boomer, get over this. And that, that they are focused, they're worried about their friends. And then Laura Lee Godfrey, who is a young woman who I honored recently because she has started pushing for education of young people about mental health. She was driving one day with one of her good friends, and her friend had a panic attack. And Laura Lee pulled over, but she didn't know what to do. Yeah. Now today we could say call 988, but she really wants to make sure that young people know what to do and understand this is the health issue.
You can't spend money and borrow and print money without consequence. We need to discipline the Congress, and I'll be willing to do that as president with the veto pen. We also have too much bureaucracy, too much red tape that bears down and stifles innovation, particularly for small businesses. We're going to get rid of that, and we will utilize the energy resources that we have in this country.